I think discontinuing the Audi R8 and the Audi TT was probably one of the biggest mistakes from Audi, because they've always had, I mean, ever since the Quattro, they always had, a two-door sports car. And now I'm pretty sure they don't even have a two-door for sale at the moment. But the good news here, we have a lot of news from Audi, and that is what we're going to talk about in this video. There's a lot going on with Audi. They're lost, I think, 14% or something like that in sales last year. They are ditching their full EV push like we've seen so many other car companies do. BMW, Mercedes as well, going back to internal combustion engine development. Bentley, new V12. Aston Martin, new V12. I mean, it seems like they're starting to realize that this push for EV was a little bit too premature, and they're going back now to focusing on the bread and butter model, which is still going to be internal combustion engines. So first of all, we also have this news, which is great for Audi as well. So they're probably going to bring back the Audi TT. Fantastic news. The Audi TT is a legendary model to me when it comes to Audi's lineup. I think this Bauhaus design for the first generation TT was just something else. It's such a beautiful, beautiful looking design. So we're going to have a look at this article. Actually, 3 articles in this case, in this video. I'm going to link them all down below. Starting with this one from Motor One. So Audi is already considering a new TT Coupe, and it could draw inspiration from the original TT, exactly like I would like to see. So with the death of the TT in 2023 and the R8 in 2024, Audi has been without a sports car for the first time in decades. In fact, the German automaker doesn't sell a two-door car at all at the moment. So Autocar asked Audi CEO if the company is considering a new sports car. For sure, he said. That's part of the brand's DNA, and we have to find the right way, timing-wise, to integrate it into our portfolio. So they are probably gonna, bring back both the Audi R8. We're gonna have a look at that in a minute, and the Audi TT. So great news moving forward from Audi here. He also spoke of the brand's new design chief, Massimo Frascella, who was hugely influenced by the original TT, apparently taking a day off work when the first model arrived at his local dealership. So when the Audi TT came out, I think it was in 1999, apparently he took the entire day off to just go and look at this car for a full day. And I love it. It seems like a person that I would love to sit down and just have a coffee with or something like that. It seems that he somehow had Audi in his mind his entire career, and now he is the chief designer, brand new chief designer for Audi. He came from Land Rover or Jaguar, and if he has this vision or this memories, or these memories of the original Audi TT, I think that a new TT could be something very, very special if he gets to lead that design project. Any Audi sports car won't come before the brand establishes firmer footing with its core lineup. Like the rest of Volkswagen's group, Audi has suffered from slower than expected EV demand, and Audi has been defining by its groundbreaking sporty cars. The original Quattro Coupe put the brand on the map as a technology leader. The TT showed the world that it was a design force. It looked like nothing else back in the early 2000s, way ahead of its time. And I think the R8 was also such a monumental step forward when it comes to car design. I think the first generation R8, actually my personal favorite is the facelifted 2013 when you got the full LEDs in the front and the back. But the first generation body shape of Audi R8 looks so much better than the latest generation in my opinion. I'm gonna let you know why in Photoshop in just a second here. So the R8 demonstrated it belonged among the sports car greats as well. Now looking at the let's see here, the Audi R8 coming back. They talk about that in this article from Autoblog. Audi's iconic R8 supercar set for a comeback. Great news again. We got the TT back, we got the R8 back. We finally have some news that suggests a third generation R8 is on the way. It's probably going to be based on the Temerario, obviously, just like the old R8 was based on the Gallardo as well. So he's sharing the glorious 907 horsepower plug-in hybrid 10,000 RPM twin turbocharged flat plane crankshaft V8 found in the Temerario. It seems development of the third generation R8 is nearly complete. I mean, I have completely missed this. I didn't even know that Audi was even considering bringing back the R8, but I don't know. They say it's almost complete, so I guess we're gonna see it arriving in late 2027, and I cannot wait to see what that is going to look like based on the Temerari. It's going to be a beast of a machine. In case you missed it, my 11-hour online class in design sketching is now only $47. If you have any desire to pick up the skill of sketching products using simple tools such as a big pen and cheap print paper, this is something you want to check out. Over the years, I've taught thousands of students from all around the world how to sketch cars and products, and most of them have seen amazing results from my classes. Analog Designer Pro Pack is the full bundle of all my classes I've released over the years, and it's yours for just $47. Check out everything that's included and see what my students have to say in the link in the description, or simply visit analogdesignerpropack.com. First of all this tech of the Temerario muscle resulted in a staggering 2.7 seconds 0 to 60 and a top speed of 213 miles per hour for Temerario. But I think what they say here is this would be a very, very cool R8 if they could remove the hybrid technology, the battery pack, from the Temerario's powertrain and put that into a new R8. First of all, it's going to be a lot lighter. You're still going to get 789 horsepower and 10,000 RPM, turbocharged V8 and rear-wheel drive. I mean, that would be one sick R8. I personally will probably want to have quattro all-wheel drive if I'm going to put, close to 800 horsepower and twin turbocharged V8 power down to the ground. And these new designs that we have, we talked about this. I made a redesign of the A6 Avant, the A5 as well. And then we have this final article from Car Scoops before we jump into Photoshop real quick. Audi slashing thousands of jobs appears to abandon EV-only push. And it's interesting to see. I'm struggling to think, to come up with, I would want to hear the reasoning behind why all these companies pushed so hard for EVs when the world was not ready for it. I mean, the people were not ready to switch into EVs, the infrastructure was not there, and to me it looked like an obvious, it just was not going to work, obviously, and it's definitely going to hit the sales numbers with this quick, instant shift to EVs, which was, in my opinion, never going to work. A more slower shift to it might work when we build out the infrastructure that's needed, upgrade the grids and so on, but just having this push, it sort of was doomed to fail from the beginning. So Audi sales fell 11.8% last year, and the company wants to desperately stop the bleeding here, and Audi and the Works Council has reached an agreement that aims to reduce labor costs and increase flexibility at German production sites. The automaker also said they're extending a job protection plan until the end of 2033, so at least they're planning on taking care of their employees, which is great news. As for the so-called job protection plan, Audi will invest about 8 billion euros, $8.7 billion into Germany through 2029. In Ingolstadt, this will pave the way for a new entry-level EV, as well as the production of the redesigned Q3, which is going to be a huge, massively important model for Audi. The Q3 has always been one of their best-selling vehicles, so they better not screw that up and keep on selling that as they've been doing up until this point. So they hinted that the electronic architecture and combustion engine vehicles will be developed further, significantly increasing their competitiveness. And here we have these new designs from Audi. You can see the spy photos here. I'm not entirely sure what this one is. And maybe the new Q, I think they're developing a new Q7 and also a new Q9 as well. So speaking of production, Audi has a Trump problem as they don't have any plants in the United States, meaning that the pricing for Audis could go up because of the tariffs. But they're planning on maybe moving it to Chattanooga. Volkswagen's planned there to also start to produce Audis there to sort of circumvent these tariffs that Trump is imposing. Audi also appears to have abandoned plans to go electric only. This is a major change, as less than a year ago, they were adamant we will transform our product portfolio and switch completely to electric vehicles. Our customers will experience the last major world premieres of new model lines with conventional drive system in the course of 2026. So that is completely ditched now. They're definitely going back to internal combustion engine manufactured cars. And I think that is great to see, because I want to see Audi survive. It's simple as that. If they just keep pushing EVs, they're probably not going to survive. They still need these base crossover SUVs, the Q5, the Q3, the Q1, to be able to bring in the revenue to further continue to develop these EV cars that they're eventually probably going to turn, switch over to. While the automaker didn't exactly admit defeat, they acknowledged the continued development of ICE-powered vehicles. Again, I think that is a good idea, just to bring in the revenue that is needed for the company at the moment. Down 11%, not good at all. So I wanted to show you this real quick. I mean, the first Audi R8 to me, I mean, it is an absolutely legendary design, and it showed because it got facelifted in 2013 with the new LEDs, the front and rear LEDs. You got new, the V10 Plus, and new. I do believe you got a new transmission as well. And that to me, the 2013 model looks more modern than the when this came out, 2017 or something like that. Because I don't know, this feels like a much more exotic design to me, and it has this classic Audi shape, Audi curves above both axles, and this is because they want to emphasize the quattro all-wheel drive system. That is how they do it visually, to have these curves over them. And then you have this side blade, something we've never seen before. And this is what made the R8 so iconic, is this carbon. You could have it optional in carbon fiber, the side blade right there. And I think it just looks absolutely fantastic. Also, the shoulder line here is different than what we have on the newest R8, or the latest R8, because here you can see that this line is now dipping downwards too much, and it creates this sort of lines right here, which I am not a fan of. It looks way more static, even though there are really not a lot of big changes to the bodywork of the R8, but for some reason the latest R8 to me just looked a lot more static than the first generation, and that is the reason why I love the first generation a lot more than this one. And when this first came out, what it reminded me of is actually a Noble. So a Noble, I think this is an M600. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it has to do with the greenhouse. Look at the greenhouse here, and then how this air intake up here is pretty much the exact same design like we have in this area for the R8. And we also have this slope, sort of static lines in the middle section. Maybe you could call this a half of a blade, like we have the half of a blade here, and this dipping roof line going into the rear end with a pretty static looking design. So to me, comparing the old generation the first generation R8 and the last generation R8, personally, there is no doubt in my mind which one I would pick. Is gonna be the first generation, facelift the 2013 V10 Plus. Did they make it in manual? I think they still made it in manual transmission with the facelift, and that would be my dream R8. I don't really care for the latest generation R8. I do know it's a pretty cool, performance vehicle. It's got the performance, but to me it just doesn't have the design like the original Audi R8. So fantastic news from Audi. To sum it up, we get the new Audi TT coming back, hopefully inspired by the first generation Bauhaus design from TT. Can't wait to see what the new design director is going to do with that. We got the R8 probably coming back in 2027. And in addition to that, Audi is going to keep developing the internal combustion technology for the brand. So to me, that is a 3-point win from Audi, and I'm looking forward to see what these new models are going to look like.